Hello, everybody out there watching on YouTube,
Levi,
and welcome.
Levi, just hang on just 1 second. I have to say something about this starting lineup. There's a certain someone that doesn't really appreciate when I get to start well, but when he starts well for 2 weeks in a row, oh, it's just gonna be just fine, huh? Oh, just fine, right? Right? I bet you're not complaining now in that brand new subway car starting on the pole every single week. Yeah, and I'm back here in 25th. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy while it lasts, you cheating Ford, trying to bring his Toyotas down.
Excuse me.
Sorry,
that bus wasn't toward him.
Oh, gosh. Hello, everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 7 of Season 3 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Mountain Dew 400 here at Darlington Raceway. You might be wondering, why are we here instead of Bermuda? Well, long story short, we tried to record Bermuda, and it basically turned into, excuse my language, a gigantic shitfest. So that is why that intro, you had the classic Dylan Jacobs kamikaze rant, just to keep that footage from Bermuda just for him. And speaking of him, I actually have two special guests. First, I have Dylan Jacobs Kamikaze Games.
Howdy.
And the second guest is Mr. James Qualls.
Hey, Odie.
And with that being stated, let's take a look and see how the top 10 in the points look coming into the race today. After last week at Arizona, which was a fantastic race, Joshua Sekuli still leads the points, but only by 11 points over James Qualls. Third is Dylan Young, fourth Dylan Jacobs, fifth is defending champion David Rivera, sixth is Charles Sanford, seventh Emmanuel Hartnett, eighth Dorian Facepuncher, ninth Preston Blord, and then 10th Jonathan Zorline. So that is how the top 10 in the points look coming into the race today, and let's take a look at the lineup. Starting in the last row, we have Chris Dollarton, Tim Walsh. Top 10, Benjamin Miles is on the pole for this week. Starting next to him is last week's winner, Jessica Shelton. Row 2 is a Furniture Row Racing dominated Row 2. Rookie Jake Rogers and Matt Haas. Row 3, Emmanuel Hartnett and Jonathan Zorline. Row 4, Dougie Shears, Dylan Thoreau. And then Row 5, Retro Racing Enterprises teammates Charles Sanford and James Qualls. With that said, let's get the command to fire engines here at Darlington, shall we?
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. So yeah, this is going to be the first of 2 trips we're going to take here at Darlington. The second trip will be the Southern 500, the longer race, and that race will be the Chase Cutoff race. So that will be quite interesting once we get to that point. But what are you guys' expectations for this race? And we'll start with the old school man himself, James Qualls.
I tell you what, Darlington, one of the toughest tracks on the schedule, obviously, and we all know that. And I think this Darlington historically has been kind of like a tire wear type of track, you know, in some ways, but it's also known for being a fuel mileage race track. We've seen people run out within the last 5 laps of that race, so I think fuel's going to be more the key on this track. And, of course, not to mention, of course, trying to keep your car, I think also handling, too.
Indeed. What about you, Mr. Kamikaze?
Well, you're going to have to worry about them Darlington stripes, so you're going to want to keep that car clean all night long.
No doubt about it. As we are getting set to go green, and boogity, 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 let's go racing. With all the pizza pies in the world.
I didn't know this was a Mario game.
Right.
Neither did I. But anyways, already it looked like Jessica Sheldon got a bit of the wall, but so far everything's clean and green as far as Darlington stripes go. But Darlington and Walsh didn't quite get going on that start, and then they find themselves far in the back. New leader, Jake Rogers, takes over the top spot, but here comes his teammate and almost brother paint scheme, Matt Haas. Now he's going to go to the point.
Can't imagine what it's like for those spotters to differentiate them two cars.
Yeah. And sort of a similar situation with two other Furniture Row racing teammates, Joshua Sekuli and Dylan Jacobs, both running the 5-hour Energy car. The only Furniture Row racing car that doesn't have a problem with paint schemes is James Shelley. He's running a Monster Energy 71. And let's actually see where he is so we can get the proof of that. 36, so he's in the back of the pack. And he's running the Monster Energy Kit Kat car this week. And whoa, contact between Darlington and Flickinger, but they keep it together. Oh, that was almost a wreck. And already the first main Darlington stripe I seen was Andrew Rich in the 56. He's got right side damage from getting into the wall. Right now, Matt Haas still holding on to the lead, but Dougie Shears in that 83 car trying to spoil that party. But right now has to settle with second being in line. But here comes Charles Sanford, the winner at Canadian Tire, trying to go to second when he's got teammate Qualls right behind him.
Pretty tight racing through this field so far.
Indeed it is, and whoa, the 83 and the 71 went way up high. And now the 03 is going to take the lead at the line. As Qualls, I don't know if Qualls is going to be committed to helping the 03 stay up front, or is he going to go for the lead himself? It looks like he's going to try and peek his nose down there, but couldn't quite make it stick, and now he's got Mark Lane in the 41 right behind him. Mark Lane, also known as Cover Killer Nation on YouTube, in the 41, trying to get win number 4 in his Marvel Studios Cup career. And here comes Jessica Sheldon in the 02, trying to go for 2 in a row this season. 2 wins in a row, that is. As she finds herself up to 4th. So right now, top 5, we got Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Toyota right now. No Dodges. I think the highest running Dodge right now is Benjamin Miles, and he's around the 10th spot. And indeed he is in the 10th spot, trying to go by Dougie Shears for the 9th position. As meanwhile, remember earlier when I was talking about how Furniture Row's got duplicating paint schemes? Well, 2 of them are coming up here. Dylan Jacobs in his 5-hour Energy car, and Joshua Sekuli, the points leader, trying to go up there in that number 79.
Furniture Row Racing has been very, very strong these last couple seasons in this series too. They're obviously one of the main contenders for the championships too.
Indeed. Right now, it's like a top 5 freight train going on right now. Almost now a top 6, as William Brock in the 01 has actually found his way up into this train of cars as well. But now that train is finally broken, as here comes Jessica Sheldon up to 2nd as she continues to move her way up through the field. And now
she looks like it's got a lot of speed in it.
Indeed, and now she's behind her teammate Charles Sanford, both out of Retro Racing Enterprises, as the 41 got stuck up on the high side, and now that train is definitely broken. And now is Sheldon going to go for the move on the inside? She's trying, and she's got her nose underneath, so now she's got that run.
Got two of the Joe Gibbs cars there moving right there behind her for third and fourth. They could decide. They could help decide who takes the lead.
Yeah, Manuel Hardnett in that number 20 Rock Band 4 car, and then Dylan Thoreau in the FedEx Ground paint scheme. As now Sheldon takes the lead officially and leads that lap, so that's an extra bonus point for her this season. But now Hardnett, one of Jessica Shelton's biggest enemies, for the simple fact that Hardnett loves to take the 20 car from Shelton and online, is now right behind. But now Dylan Thoreau's going to try and break up the rivalry. And Benjamin Miles, the pole sitter, trying to come back up to the front of the field as he's now underneath for third in that Napa Auto Parts Dodge. One of two Napa Auto Parts Dodges in the field. And, oh, I thought there was contact right there between the 20 and the 55, but they kept together, and now here comes Dylan Thoreau in the 11 for the lead. And he clears her. So now that we're over 10 laps into this run, what are your guys' thoughts on how these drivers are racing each other so far?
Pretty good racing so far. I think this package has been doing very well here at Darlington, obviously, too. I mean, you got a lot of side-by-side racing. Of course, a few Darlington drivers, of course, what do you expect from this track? But still, I think this package is pretty good for this track.
All right, Kamikaze.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just the problem with that is that these guys are racing so tight with each other that one mistake could wreck the whole field, and we see ourselves a Daytona-Talladega wreck.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But it seems like everything up at the front is sort of settled out for the time being. They're single file for the most part. The closest battle we just now had, it looked like Kyle Matthews just went past the 79 of Sekuli for the 7th position. As Emmanuel Hartnett, who was second, is still falling back as he finds himself stuck on the outside lane, which is not the lane you want to be in at this racetrack. And Benjamin Miles starting to realize the same thing. And Dylan Thoreau continues to lead. So let's, now that we're almost halfway through, let's actually take a look at a full field rundown, starting with the leader. So your current leader right now is Dylan Thoreau in the 11. Second is Jessica Shelton. Third is Dylan Jacobs. Fourth is Charles Sanford. Fifth is Benjamin Miles. Sixth is James Qualls. Seventh, Kyle Matthews. Eighth is the points leader, Joshua Sekuli. Ninth, Trent Dunham. 10th, Austin LaPlante. 11th, David Rivera. 12th, Dougie Shears. 13th, Chris Michaels. 14th, Anthony McCurry. 15th, Matt Haas. 16th, JT Bryant. 17th, James McLeod. I believe that is 18th. Oh, wait a minute. We got some pit stops. And the leader, Dylan Thoreau, pitted, and he sacrifices the lead over to Dylan Jacobs for the time being. With a massive lead right now over the 03 of Charles Sanford, but that might not last long, as everybody's on pit road, or most people are getting on pit road. Still a lot out on the track. But yeah, look at this gap that's separating the top two for now, but cars are coming in the pit, but there's still going to be some staying out. Benjamin Miles is going to inherit the lead. And he's got Kyle Matthews and David Rivera all over him as well. Rafael Leduc stayed out as well.
I was going to say, be interesting to see how this battle between pit strategies work here as we go into the last half of this race.
Yeah, because some cars pitted before they reached the halfway point, so we could see some cars not make it on gas before the end of the race. So we could see an interesting finish for this race. And wow, yeah, nearly Kyle Matthews nearly hit the end of the pit wall, but luckily kept it together. It looks like Dylan Thoreau won the battle off pit road of the first group of cars that came in. Trying to go around to see who has won the battle in the second group. And it looked like it was, I'm not sure if it was Dylan Jacobs or if it was Zach Flickinger. Maybe it might have been Flickinger. He might have went with just 2 tires and gas. And maybe everyone else went with 4 tires and gas. As now things are starting to kind of cycle around. So if everything cycles around properly, Dylan Thoreau will now have a big lead. But then again, you never know. Benjamin Miles still on pit road, and it looks like William Brock was the 5th one to stay out on track, but now officially it looks like Dylan Thoreau has taken the lead back after those green flag pit stops have concluded. But we got about for lead. Oh, Thoreau got the wall a little bit. He got a bit of a Darlington stripe, and that helps for Jessica Sheldon to go for the lead, and Dougie Shears, who's still trying to get back up to speed, is holding up both of the top two, which is helping for Dylan Jacobs among everyone else to reel in the top two.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look at this. Dylan Jacobs now with a full head of steam is now on the bottom underneath the 11, so he's going to take over second. And Seth Cole in the 98, whereas we're going to go to helicopter camera to take a look at this, as now things are getting interesting up here, as the 83, who wasn't fully up to speed off of pit road, caused a bit of a problem for the top two, and he's still holding up the 11, but at least now he is up to speed, so he kind of blends in with everybody. And whoa! Sheldon getting the wall a little bit, so that brings the lead over to Dylan Jacobs, first time leading here at Darlington. But he's got Seth Cole in the 98 Narnia car right on his tail.
I should let my clone do these races more often. Clearly, being up in the booth is helping me win races, so that's awesome.
But they are slowly reeling in Anthony McCrory, who isn't wrecked, but he's just not been able to go anywhere. As Dylan Jacobs got a bit of the wall, and now he's going to lose some spots. And here comes Pichu London in the number 21 Ford EcoBoost car. First time we've talked about him all race. He's up here battling for potentially the win, as they have reeled in the 61, but luckily the 61 is not damaged, so he isn't going to be too much of a problem for these leaders.
Kind of weird seeing the 21 car without the customary red and white, but that scheme does look good for the 21 car.
Indeed it does. Then again, the Ford EcoBoost car looks good on any number.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, after all, Ford EcoBoost is one of my favorite paint schemes to see in all of racing. But Mark Lane finds himself back up to third, so Mark Lane, who was in the top 5 early, finds himself back into the mix, as right now, I guess actually Andrew Rich is on the tail end. Yeah, he is on the tail end of the lead lap. So Pichu London is unofficially the race leader. Mark Lane is actually in second, so that was a scoring error in my brain at that moment. As we just got news in the world of music, the singer known as Warrell Dane, who was a singer for bands such as Sanctuary and most notably the band Nevermore, has unfortunately passed away at the age of 56 due to a heart attack this morning. So our condolences goes out to his family and friends and bandmates and any band that he was in. And as far as I remember, Warrell Dane was actually one of the most underrated heavy metal singers of all time. He could sing low, he could sing high. If you want proof, just listen to the first 2 Sanctuary albums and pretty much any Nevermore album, and you get the idea. So rest in peace, Warrell Dane, as that news just came in on my screen as this race was going on. And I know Mark Lane, a.k.a. Cover Killer Nation, was a big Nevermore and Sanctuary fan, so this has to hit him pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
And Mark Lane is actually hoping to try and win this race in honor of one of his favorite singers. But he's got Charles Sanford right on his tail, and Charles Sanford trying to go for win number 2 this season. He won at Canadian Tire a couple weeks ago on the road course, and what was probably one of the best road course races we've ever had on this channel. But he's trying to go for a non-road course win, as they are reeling in lap cars. And Chris Darlington actually has damage. I don't know if he ran into somebody going into pit road, but I got a feeling he's going to cause quite a stir as Flickinger and Andrew Rich find themselves stuck behind the 23. But Mark Lane doing the smart thing and trying to use the bottom to get by all these cars, although Darlington's going to shut the door, and nobody can go for a move at this point right now, but now they get by the 23 for the time being, as we're coming to the end of the race, and curiosity is about to set in of who's going to be able to make it on gas, because some cars pitted before the halfway point, so some cars may have to short pit here in the next 2 laps.
And all this is to let the second pack catch up.
Indeed it has. As right now the top 10 currently would be Mark Lane, then Sanford, Thoreau, Jacobs, Seth, and then Qualls, then London, Rogers, and then I would say... Actually, maybe not Rogers. Actually, I don't think that scoring is correct. London, then Galligan, Shelton, and Plord. That would be the top 10. So we got a lot of lap cars up here in this battle, which is making the racing even more crazy right now. But Mark Lane still managing to hold on to the lead, although Sanford, here he comes with a run, but he doesn't quite get to the bottom in time, at least for the time being. 41's just doing a good job of mirror driving right now.
Well, as I say, at Darlington, catching him's one thing, but passing him's another.
Yeah, Mark Lane is personally hoping if he can catch up to the 56 of Andrew Rich and get on by him, he can use the 56 as a pick to guarantee himself the lead for the time being. But 56 just seems to be a lot faster. Well, as I say that, I look at the lap times and it's different. And here we go, lead change with 2 to go. Charles Sanford is going to go to the inside. As the racing's getting really intense and nobody's coming to pit road of the leaders, so maybe these guys will be able to make it, though it's going to be interesting. White flag is waving for the 03 of Sanford, who has a steady lead over the 11 car. Right now, a battle on for the third spot. Dylan Jacobs going to go by the 41 to get the third. Sanford's got the lead by a couple car lengths, but I don't think anybody's going to really be able to get on by him, so it looks like it's going to be all Sanford. Coming off of turn 4, checkered flag waving for win number 2. Charles Sanford wins the Mountain Dew 400 at Darlington. What a great race this was. No wrecks, well, technically, but no cautions, I should say. And a lot of great racing, constant passes. Great race by these guys. And Charles Sanford pulled off the move with about a lap and a half to go. And it paid off, and he gets win number 2 this season. And perhaps a guaranteed spot in the chase. Maybe if he wins one more, he would. I don't know. We still got a long way to go. But congrats nonetheless to the 03. Let's take a look at the rest of the results. Dylan Thoreau comes through with a phenomenal finish in second. Seth Cole, who fell out of the top 30 in points after last week at Arizona, had to qualify his way in and comes through with a great run in third. Dylan Jacobs with a great comeback finish in fourth after a rather dismal week last week at Arizona, comes through and gets a top 5. And then Mark Lane tried to get that win, but still a phenomenal points run in 5th. James Qualls with a solid run in 6th. Could he be the new points leader? We'll find out here in just a moment. Pichu London with a solid run in 7th. Sean Galligan, who needed a good run, comes through in 8th. Preston Blord with a solid 9th. And then David Rivera, solid run in 10th. Rest of the top 20 was Matt Haas, Trent Dunham, James McLeod, James Shelley, Kyle Matthews, Jessica Sheldon, JT Bryant, Dylan Young, Dorian Facepuncher, Ashlyn Boyd. Rest of the top 30 was DJ Curtis, Phil Parker, Paul Minnick, Benjamin Miles, Austin LaPlante, Jay Jefferson, Johnny Gardner, Emmanuel Hartnett, Chris Michaels, and Joshua Sekuli, so that pretty much confirms James Qualls will have the points lead going into next week, which is Texas. But the rest of the lead lap cars were Dylan Poteet, Rafael LeDuc, Tim Walsh, Matt McIntyre, and Andrew Rich. Everybody else that finished were a lap down, and they include Anthony McCrory, Zach Flickinger, Jake Rogers, Chris Dollerton, William Brock, Dougie Shears, and Jonathan Zorline. So that does it for our coverage after a phenomenal race here at Darlington. Can't wait to come back here for the Chase Cutoff race later in the season. And I would like to thank James Qualls and Dylan Jacobs Kamikaze Thornhill for stopping by the booth.
Yep, that's my name. Don't wear it out.
We won't.
Alright, so with that said, thank you guys for watching. Here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into next week at Texas. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off. And don't forget to subscribe to the Kamikaze Games channel. And if you want to, subscribe to the Red Racer 1985 channel. Peace out, y'all.